You ever notice how some homes just have that like fresh, clean smell? You walk in, and it's like
Yeah, you can just feel it.
makes you want to take a deep breath. I always thought it was like some fancy candle or something.
Right, like a trick.
But it turns out a lot of it comes down to air purification, like really good air purification.
It's amazing how much of a difference it makes.
So today, that's what we're diving deep into the science of clean air. We're uncovering the secrets of those fresh-smelling homes, getting rid of the bad stuff, and making your home feel amazing.
It's more than just a nice smell, though, right? It's about your health.
Absolutely. We spend so much time thinking about what we eat, what we drink.
But we forget about the air we breathe.
Exactly. And it's not always so clean, is it?
No, not always. I mean, we're talking about invisible stuff, right? Stuff we don't even think about.
Like what? What's lurking in our air?
Well, you've got your VOCs, those volatile organic compounds.
VOCs. Sounds intense.
It's a mouthful, but basically they're chemicals released from everyday things.
Like what?
Paint, cleaning products, new furniture, that new car smell. Yeah, that's VOCs.
So that new car smell isn't a good thing.
It's not great. The little whiff here and there, not a big deal. But long-term exposure, not so good.
What do you mean?
We're talking headaches, respiratory issues, even some serious health stuff down the line.
Wow, okay. Didn't realize it was that serious. Anything else? Besides the VOCs, I mean.
Oh yeah, there's mold. Big one, especially after water damage.
That musty smell. Ugh.
That's it, mold spores. And those can really mess with you. Allergies, breathing problems.
Yeah, mold's no joke.
And it doesn't take much for it to grow either. A
Really?
little leak, high humidity, and boom, you've got yourself a mold party.
And it's not always easy to spot.
Nope, it can hide in your walls, under the sink.
Okay, so we've got VOCs, mold, anything else trying to ruin our day.
Don't forget about particulate matter.
Particulate matter.
Sounds official, right?
A little bit.
It's just a fancy way of saying tiny particles.
Yeah.
Dust, pollen, pet dander, all that stuff floating around.
Okay, I get it. So those are our enemies, huh? VOCs, mold, particulate matter, that's where our HVAC system comes in, right? Supposed to fight those off.
That's the idea. It's your first line of defense against all that stuff.
But how effective is it, really? I mean, it keeps the temperature comfortable, but does it actually clean the air?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the answer, like most things, is complicated.
How so?
Well, it depends
On what?
on the type of filter you have, for one. You see, not all filters are created equal.
Ah, so you can't just slap any old filter in there and call it a day.
Nope. Different filters, different jobs.
Okay, so let's talk about these filters, because honestly, when I see all the options,
It's overwhelming.
yeah, it's like, where do I even begin? Let's start with the one I hear about all the time. HEPA filters.
Yeah, HEPA filters are like the rock stars of the air purifier world.
Rock stars, huh? So what makes them so special?
Well, they're amazing at catching those tiny particles we were talking about, like really, really tiny.
How tiny are we talking?
We're talking 0.3 microns.
0.3 microns. That doesn't mean much to me.
Think of it this way. A human hair is about 70 microns wide.
Okay, so these particles are like microscopic.
Exactly. But HEPA filters, they've got this super fine material, all pleated, creates this dense maze that traps those particles.
So it's like they get lost in the filter and can't escape.
Pretty much. And the clean air, it just flows through. That's why they're so good for allergies, asthma, all that.
That makes sense. Our research mentioned something about different HEPA levels, though.
Ah, yeah, good point. Not all HEPA filters are created equal.
What do you mean?
You'll see HEPA, true HEPA, HEPA-like. It can get confusing.
So what's the difference?
True HEPA is the gold standard. It captures like 99.97% of particles that are 0.3 microns and larger.
Wow, 99.97%. That's almost everything.
Pretty much. But even a regular HEPA filter is going to make a big difference.
Okay, good to know. So HEPA filters, they're great for particles. But what about those VOCs? Can they handle those too?
Good question. HEPA filters, they're amazing for particles, but not so much for gases. For that, you need something else.
Like what?
Activated carbon filters.
Okay, so those are the gas busters of the air purifier world.
Exactly.
How do they work?
They use activated carbon, which is like super porous. Think of it like a sponge, but on a molecular level.
A sponge for gases.
Exactly. It's got all these tiny pores, which creates a huge amount of surface area. And that's where the magic happens.
The magic.
Well, the gas molecules, they get trapped in those pores. It's not like a HEPA filter that physically blocks stuff.
So it's more of a chemical thing.
Right. They actually bond with those gas molecules. And bonus, they can help with odors too.
Ah, so that's why they're in fridges and stuff.
Yep. Keeps things smelling fresh.
Sounds like a miracle product. But do they ever get full?
They do. Just like a sponge, they can get saturated.
Oh, no.
It's okay. You just have to replace them. However, it depends on how many VOCs are in your air. New home. Lots of scented products.
Okay, so you'll probably need to replace them more often. Got it. What about those electrostatic filters? I've seen those around. Do they work?
They do. They use static electricity to trap particles.
Static electricity? Like when my hair sticks up after I brush it?
Exactly. They have these electrically charged plates. Particles go through, get a little zap, and stick to the filter.
Pretty.
They're good for bigger stuff, like dust and pet hair. But for the really tiny stuff, HEPA is still the way to go.
Makes sense. What about UVC lights? That sounds kind of intense. Like, are we blasting lasers in our air ducts now?
It sounds like something out of Star Wars, right?
Hmm.
But actually, UVC light has been used for ages to kill bacteria.
Really?
Yeah, like in hospitals and stuff. But now they're putting it in HVAC systems.
How does that even work?
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The UVC light, it messes with the DNA of bacteria and viruses. Basically, it destroys them.
Destroys them. That's pretty impressive.
Right. And the best part, it's totally natural. No chemicals or anything.
So it's like a natural way to sanitize the air.
Exactly. Really good for mold, especially in humid environments.
That's good to know. Now, before we run out of time, we have to talk about MERV ratings.
Ah, yes. MERV ratings.
What even is a MERV rating? It sounds complicated.
It's not as bad as it sounds. Basically, it tells you how well the filter can trap small particles.
Okay, so the higher the rating, the better.
Exactly. Higher rating, better filtration.
Simple as that.
Pretty much. But keep in mind, a higher MERV rating can restrict airflow. So you got to make sure it works with your HVAC system.
Okay, so don't just go for the highest number you can find.
Right. It's all about balance.
Got it. This is a lot of info. Do we have research to back all this up, or is it just like marketing hype?
Oh, no, there's actual science behind it. For example, there was a study on HEPA filters and wildfire smoke. Turns out they're really effective at removing those harmful particles.
That's good to know, especially with all the wildfires we've been having lately. What about activated carbon filters? Any proof they actually work?
Yep. Studies have shown they can remove a significant chunk of VOCs, sometimes up to 80%, depending on the type.
80%, that's huge. And UVC lights, are they really that good at killing germs?
There was a study by HHRA, the air conditioning experts.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They found that UVC light systems could reduce microbes in HVAC systems by 90%.
90%? That's incredible.
Like a microbial massacre. And here's the kicker. Research shows that using these technologies together, HEPA, activated carbon, UVC, it's even more effective than just using one alone.
So it's like having a whole army of air purifiers all working together.
Exactly, a multi-layered defense system.
I like the sound of that. So I've got my filters, I've got my UVC light, I'm good to go.
Well, not so fast. We've got to talk about your HVAC system itself.
Oh, right, the actual system. I kind of forgot about that.
It's important. Think of it like this.
You were saying something about thinking of it like...
It's like having this amazing top-notch security system.
Right, yeah.
But you leave the front door wide open.
Okay, that's not good. So what are we leaving open here?
The ductwork.
Ductwork, right.
Those metal channels that carry the air around your house.
Yeah, those. Not the most exciting thing to think about.
I know. But important. Over time, they can get leaks, gaps, all sorts of stuff.
Leaks, like air leaks.
Yep. And those leaks, they can let in dust, mold, all that nasty stuff.
So like a highway for pollutants?
Pretty much. Your HVAC system sucks in that air, spreads it all over the house.
Oh, no. So not good.
Not good at all. That's why getting your ductwork checked is so important.
Okay, so get them inspected, make sure there's no leaks.
Exactly. Sealed up tight.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Maintenance. Can't forget about maintenance.
Right, like changing the filters?
Yes, that's a big one. But also getting your system tuned up regularly.
Tuned up? You mean like a car?
Kinda, yeah. Call in a professional at least once a year.
What do they do?
They'll check for problems, clean everything, make sure it's running smoothly.
Okay, so it's like an annual checkup for your HVAC.
Exactly. And it's worth it. Not only for clean air, but it'll help your system last longer too.
Save money on repairs in the long run.
Exactly.
This has been so helpful. I had no idea there was so much to think about with air purification.
It's a whole world.
It is. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Just remember, clean air, it's not just a luxury. It's a big deal for our health. So learn about it, ask questions, do your research.
And make your home a clean air sanctuary.
Exactly.
That's it for today's deep dive. We hope you learned a lot. And remember, breathe easy.